Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Golden Stag Players in Quarantine present William Shakespeare's As You Like It. Today, for your entertainment, Duke Signor will be played by Seamus Pedraig O'Boylan Minarek. Duke Frederick, no, not that Duke Frederick, will be played by Maxon Dowell ap Morgan. Rosalind will be played by Margaret Astrid Robin. Celia will be played by Ghislaine d'Auxerre. Amiens will be played by Moira of Kent. Jacques will be played by Juan Santiago. Lebeau will be played by Moira of Kent. A Lord will be played by Catherine Holcomb of Arden. Charles will be played by Juan Santiago. Touchstone will be played by Aymeric de Foy. Oliver will be played by Donovan Sinclair. Orlando will be played by Kaylin de Langley. Adam will be played by Catherine Holcomb of Arden. Corin will be played by Catherine Holcomb of Arden. Silvius will be played by Moira of Kent. Phoebe will be played by Leah de Villaverde. And I am Rose de Lamont, your narrator.
All the world's a stage, and all your base are belong to us. Sorry, that's the opening for a different show. Guess you'll just have to cope.
Act 1, Scene 1, Oliver's house. Enter Orlando and Adam.
As you remember, Adam, it was upon this fashion bequeathed to me by will, but pour 1,000 crowns, and charged my brother on his blessing to breed me well. And there begins my sadness. My brother Jakes he keeps at school, and report speaks goldenly of his profit. For my part, he keeps me rustically at home, or to speak more properly, stays me here at home unkept. For call you that me a gentleman of birth that differs not from the stalling of an ox? He lets me feed with his hinds, bars me from the place of a brother, and mines my gentility with my education. This is it, Adam, that grieves me. And the spirit of my father, which I think is within me, begins to mutiny against this servitude. I will no longer endure it, though yet I know not wise remedy how to avoid it.
Enter Oliver.
Yonder comes my master, your brother.
Go apart, Adam, and thou shalt hear how he will shake me up.
Adam stands where he will not be seen.
How, sir, what make you here?
Nothing. I am not taught to make anything.
What mar you then, sir?
Marry, sir, I am helping you mar that which God made, a poor unworthy brother of yours with idleness.
Know you where you are, sir?
Oh, sir, very well.
Know you before whom, sir?
Aye, better than him I am before knows me. I know you are my eldest brother, and in the gentle condition of blood, you should so know me. The courtesy of nations allows you my better, in that you are firstborn, but the same tradition takes not away my blood. Were there 20 brothers betwixt us? I have as much of my father in me as you, albeit I confess you coming before me is nearer to his reverence.
What, boy?
Oliver strikes Orlando.
Come, elder brother, you are too young in this.
They fight. Orlando overpowers Oliver.
Wilt thou land hands on me, villain?
I am no villain. I am the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys. Wert thou not my brother, I would not take this hand from my throat, for the other had pulled out my tongue for saying so.
Adam comes forward.
Sweet masters, be patient, for your father's remembrance be at accord.
Let me go, I say.
I will not till I please. You shall hear me. My father charged you in his will to give me good education. You have trained me like a peasant, obscuring and hiding from me all gentleman-like qualities. The spirit of my father grows strong in me, and I will no longer endure it. Therefore, allow me such exercises as may become a gentleman, or give me the poor lottery my father left me by testament. With that will I go buy my fortunes.
And what wilt thou do? Beg when that is spent? Well, sir, get you in. I will not long be troubled with you. You shall have some part of your will.
Orlando releases him and exits.
Get you with him, you old dog.
His old dog, my reward? Most true. I have lost many a teeth in your service. God be with my old master. He would not have spoke such a word.
Adam exits.
Is it even so? I will physic your rankness, and yet give no 1,000 crowns neither.
Enter Charles.
Good morrow, your worship.
Good Monsieur Charles, what is the new news at the new court?
Oh, there's no new news at the court, sir, but the old news. That is, the old duke is banished by his younger brother, and the new duke, and 3 or 4 loving lords have put themselves into voluntary exile with him, whose lands and revenues enrich the new duke. Therefore, he gives them good leave to wander.
Can you tell if Rosalind, the duke's daughter, be banished with her father?
Oh no, for the duke's daughter, her cousin, so loves her, being ever from their cradles bred together, that she would have followed her to exile or have died to stay behind her. She is at the court, and no less beloved of her uncle than his own daughter, and never 2 ladies did love as they do.
Where will the old duke live?
Oh, they say he's already in the forest of Arden, and many merry men with him. And there they live like the old Robin Hood of England. They say many young gentlemen flock to him every day.
What, you wrestle tomorrow before the new duke?
Marry do, I do, sir. And come to acquaint you with a matter. I am given, sir, secretly to understand that your younger brother Orlando hath a disposition to come in against me to try a fall. Tomorrow, sir, I wrestle for my credit, and he that escapes me without some broken limb shall acquit himself well. Your brother is but younger and tender, and for your love I would be loath to foil him. Therefore, out of my love to you, I came hither to acquaint you with that matter, that either you might stay him from his intendiment, or brook such disgrace that, well, that he shall run into, in that it is a thing of his own search, and altogether against my will.
Charles, I thank thee for thy love to me, which you shall find I will most kindly requite. I had myself notice of my brother's purpose herein, and have by underhand means labor to dissuade him from it, but he is resolute. I'll tell thee, Charles, it is the stubbornest young fellow of France, full of ambition, a secret and villainous contriver against me, his natural brother. Therefore, use thy discretion. I had as lief thou just break his neck as his finger, and thou wert best to it. For if thou dost him any slight disgrace, or if he do not mightily grace himself on thee, he will practice against thee by poison, entrap thee by some treacherous device, and never leave thee until he hath taken thy life by some indirect means or other. There is not one so young and so villainous to stay living.
I am heartily glad I came hither to you. If he come tomorrow, I'll give him his payment. God keep your worship.
Charles exits.
I hope I shall see an end of him, for my soul, yet I do not know why, hates nothing more than he. Yet he's gentle, never schooled and yet learned, full of noble device, of all sorts enchantingly beloved, and, indeed, so much in the heart of the world, and especially of my own people, who best know him, that I am altogether misprized. But it shall not be so long, this wrestler shall clear all.
Oliver exits. Scene 2, the Duke's palace the next day. Enter Rosalind and Celia.
I pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my cousin, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of, and would you yet I were merrier? Unless you can teach me to forget a banished father, you must not learn me how to remember any extraordinary pleasure.
You know my father hath no child but I, nor none is like to have. And truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For what he hath taken away from thy father perforce, I will render thee again in affection. By mine honor I will. And when I break that oath, let me turn monster. Therefore, my sweet Rose, my dear Rose, be merry.
What shall be our sport then?
Enter Touchstone.
Oh, how now? Will whither wander you?
Mistress, you must come away to your father.
Were you made the messenger?
No, by mine honor, but I was bid to come for you.
Oh, well, here comes Monsieur Le Beau.
Enter Le Beau.
With his mouth full of news.
Bonjour, Monsieur Le Beau. What is the news?
Fair princess, you have lost much good sport.
Sport of what color?
I will tell you of good wrestling, which you have lost the sight of.
Yet tell us the manner of the wrestling.
I will tell you the beginning, and if it please your ladyships, you may see the end, for the best is yet to do. And here, where you are, they are coming to perform it. There comes an old man and his 3 sons, 3 proper young men of excellent growth and presence. The eldest of the 3 wrestled with Charles, the Duke's wrestler, which Charles in a moment threw him and broke 3 of his ribs, that there is little hope of life in him. So he served the 2nd, and so the 3rd. Yonder they lie, the poor old man, their father, making such pitiful dole over them that all the beholders take his part with weeping.
Oh, alas!
But what is the sport, monsieur, that the ladies have lost?
Why, this that I speak of.
Thus men may grow wiser every day. It was the first time that ever I heard of breaking of ribs was sport for ladies.
Oh, or I promise thee.
But is there else longs to see this broken music in his sides? Is there yet another dotes upon rib breaking? Shall we see this wrestling, cousin?
You must if you stay here, for here is the place appointed for the wrestling, and they are ready to perform it.
Yonder, sure they are coming. Let us now stay and see it.
Enter Duke Frederick, Lord Orlando, and Charles.
How now, daughter and cousin? Are you crept hither to see the wrestling?
Aye, my liege, so please you give us leave.
You will take little delight in it, I can tell you. There is such odds in the man. In pity of the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, but he will not be entreated. Speak to him, ladies. See if you can move him.
Frederick and the Lord prepare to watch the wrestling as the ladies go to Orlando, who stands apart from the others.
Young man, have you challenged Charles the wrestler?
Young gentlemen, your spirits are too bold for your years. You have seen cruel proof of this man's strength. We pray you for your own sake to embrace your own safety and give over this attempt.
Do, young sir. Your reputation shall not therefore be misprized. We will make it our suit to the Duke that the wrestling might not go forward.
I beseech you, punish me not with your hard thoughts, wherein I confess me much guilty to deny so fair and excellent ladies anything. But let your fair eyes and gentle wishes go with me to my trial.
The little strength that I have, I were with you.
And mine to eke out hers.
Well, fare you well then.
Come, where is this young gallant that is so desirous to lie with his mother earth?
Ready, sir.
You shall try but one fall.
Now Hercules be thy speed, young man.
They wrestle, and Charles is thrown.
Oh.
Oh, excellent, young man.
No more, no more.
Orlando backs away from the unconscious Charles.
How dost thou, Charles?
He cannot speak, my lord.
Bear him away. What is thy name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys.
I wouldst thou hadst been son to some man else. The world esteemed thy father honorable, but I did find him still mine enemy. Thou shouldst have better pleased me with this deed, hadst thou descended from another house.
Frederick, Lord, and LeBeau exit.
Orlando, my father loved Sir Roland as his soul, and all the world was my father's mind. Had I but known you before you were his son, I should have given you tears unto entreaties ere you should thus have ventured.
My father's rough and envious disposition sticks me at heart. Sir, you have well deserved. If you do keep your promise and love, but justly as you have exceeded all promise, your mistress shall be happy.
Gentlemen, wear this for me, as one of the suits with fortune that could give more, but her hand lacks means.
Orlando does not reply, and Rosalind and Celia begin to exit.
Can I not say thank you? My better parts are all thrown down. That which here stands is but a mere lifeless block.
Rosalind hurries back to Orlando.
Did you call, sir? Sir, you have wrestled well and overthrown more than your enemies.
Cousin, will you go?
Fare you well.
Rosalind and Celia exit.
What passion hangs these weights upon my tongue? I cannot speak to her, yet she urged my conference. Poor Orlando, thou art overthrown.
Re-enter LeBeau.
Good sir, I do in friendship counsel you to leave this place. Albeit you have deserved high commendation, true applause, and love, yet such is now the Duke's condition that he misconstrues all that you have done.
I thank you, sir, and pray you tell me this. Which of the two was the daughter of the Duke that was here wrestling?
Neither his daughter, if we judge by manners. But yet indeed, the shorter is his daughter. The other is daughter to the banished Duke, and here detained by her usurping uncle to keep his daughter company, whose loves are dearer than the natural bond of sisters. But I can tell you that of late this Duke hath ta'en displeasure against his gentle niece, grounded upon no other argument but that the people praise her for her virtues and pity her for her good father's sake. And on my life, his malice against the lady will suddenly break forth. Sir, fare you well. Hereafter, in a better world than this, I shall desire more love and knowledge of you.
I rest must bound into you. Fare you well.
LeBeau exits.
Just my eye from the smoke into the smother, from tyrant Duke until tyrant brother. Heavenly Rosalind.
Orlando exits. Scene 3, another part of the Duke's palace. Enter Celia and Rosalind.
Why, cousin? Why, Rosalind? Cupid have mercy, not a word?
Not one to throw at a dog.
But is all this for your father?
No, some of it is for my child's father.
Let us talk in good earnest. Is it possible on such a sudden you should fall in so strong a liking with old Sir Roland's youngest son?
The Duke, my father, loved his father dearly.
Doth it therefore ensure that you should love his son dearly? By this kind of chase I should hate him, for my father hated his father dearly, yet I hate not Orlando.
No, faith, hate him not for my sake.
Enter Duke Frederick.
Mistress Rosalind, dispatch you with your safest haste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle?
You, cousin, within these 10 days, if that thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest for it.
I do beseech your grace, let me know the knowledge of my fault, bear with me. Never so much as in a thought unborn did I offend your highness.
Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
Yet your mistrust cannot make me a traitor. Tell me whereon the likelihood depends.
Thou art thy father's daughter. There's enough.
Oh, dear sovereign, hear me speak.
Aye, Celia, we stayed her for your sake, else she had with her father ranged all along.
If she be a traitor, why so am I. We still have slept together, rose at an instant, learned, played, ate together, and wheresoever we went, still we went coupled and inseparable.
She is too subtle for thee. Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name, and thou wilt show more bright and seem more virtuous when she is gone. Then open not thy lips. Firm and irrevocable is my doom, which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence, then, on me, my liege. I cannot live without her company.
You are a fool. You, niece, provide yourself. If you outstay the time, upon mine honor, and in the greatness of my word, you die.
Frederick exits.
Oh, my poor Rosalind, whither wilt thou go? Prithee, be cheerful. Knowest thou not the Duke hath banished me, his daughter?
That he hath not.
No, hath not? Rosalind lacks then the love which teacheth her that thou and I am one. Shall we be sundered? Shall we part, sweet girl? No. Let my father seek another heir. Therefore devise with me how we may fly, whither to go, and what to bear with us. And do not seek to take your change upon you, to bear your griefs yourself, and change me out. I'll go along with thee.
Why, whither shall we go?
Well, to seek my uncle in the forest of Arden.
Alas, what danger will it be to us, maids that we are, to travel forth so far?
Well, I'll put myself in poor and mean attire, and with a kind of umber smirch on my face. The like do you, so shall we pass along and never stir assailants.
Were it not better that I dissuit me all points like a man?
Well, sure. What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
I'll have no worse a name than Jove's own page, and therefore look you call me Ganymede.
Ganymede. That's what you went with, is Ganymede.
Would you rather I went with Stephen of Pembroke?
No. Ganymede is just fine.
But what will you be called?
Something that hath a reference to my state. No longer Celia, but Aliena.
But cousin, what if we essayed to steal the clownish fool out of your father's court? Would he not be a comfort to our travel?
Oh, he'll go along o'er the wide world with me. Let's away and get our jewels and our wealth together. Devise the fittest time and the safest way to hide us from pursuit that will be made after my flight. Now go we in content to liberty and not to banishment.
Exeunt. Act 2, Scene 1, the Forest of Arden. Enter Duke Signor and Amiens.
Now, my co-mate and brother in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? And our life, exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it.
Happy is your grace that can translate the stubbornness of fortune into so quiet and so sweet a style.
Come, shall we go and kill us venison? And yet it irks me that the poor dappled fools, being native burghers of this desert city, should, in their own confines, with forked heads have their round haunches gored.
Indeed, my lord, the melancholy Jaques grieves at that, and in that kind swears you do more usurp than doth your brother that hath banished you.
But what said Jaques? Did he not moralize this?
Oh, yes, most invectively he pierceth through the body of this our life, swearing that we are mere usurpers, tyrants, and what's worse, to fright the animals, and to kill them up in their assigned and native dwelling place.
And did you leave him in this contemplation?
I did, my lord.
Show me the place. I love to cope him in these sullen fits, and then he's full of matter.
I'll bring him to you straight.
Exeunt. Scene 2, the palace. Enter Duke Frederick and Lord.
Can it be possible that no man saw them? It cannot be. Some villains of my court are of consent and sufferance in this.
I cannot hear of any that did see her. The ladies, her attendants of her chamber, saw her abed, and in the morning early they found the bed untreasured above their mistress. My lord, the clown, at whom so oft your grace was wont to laugh, is also missing. Hesperia, the princess gentlewoman, confesses that she secretly o'erheard your daughter and her cousin much concerned. The parts and graces of the wrestler that did but lately foil this sinewy Charles, and she believes wherever they are gone, that youth is surely in their company.
Send to his brother. Fetch that gallant hither. I'll make him find him. Do this suddenly, and let not search and inquisition quail to bring again these foolish runaways.
Exeunt. Scene 3, outside Oliver's house. Enter Orlando and Adam meeting.
Who's there?
What, my young master? Why, what makes you here? Come not within these doors, within this roof. The enemy of all your graces lives. Your brother, no brother, hath heard your praises, and this night he means to burn the lodging where you used to live. Your brother, and you within it. If he fail of that, he will have other means to cut you off. I heard him at his practices. This is no place. This house is but a butchery. Abhor it, fear it, do not enter it.
Why, whither, Adam, wouldst thou have me go?
No matter whither, you shall not stay here.
This I will not do how I can. I rather will subject me to the malice of a diverted blood and bloody brother.
But do not so. I have 500 crowns. All this I give you. Let me be your servant. Though I look old, yet I am strong and lusty. Let me go with you. I'll do the service of one much younger.
Oh, how well in thee appears the constant service of the antique world. Thou art not for the fashion of these times. Come thy ways, we'll go along together.
Master, go on, and I will follow thee to the last gasp with truth and loyalty. From 17 years till 24. Here I lived, but now here live I no more.
Exeunt. Scene 4, the forest of Arden. Enter Rosalind, dressed as Ganymede, Celia as Aliena, and Touchstone.
Oh, Jupiter, how weary are my spirits.
I care not for my spirits if my legs were not weary.
I could find in my heart to disgrace my man's apparel and to cry like a woman, but I must comfort the weaker vessel. Therefore, courage, good Aliena.
I pray you, bear with me. I cannot go no further.
For my part, I had rather bear with you than bear you. Yet I should bear no cross if I did bear you, for I think you have no money in your purse.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
Aye, now am I in Arden. The more fool I. When I was at home, I was in a better place, but travelers must be content.
Enter Corin and Silvius.
Look you, who comes here, a young man and old in solemn talk?
That is to way to make her scorn you still.
Oh, Corin, that thou knewest how I do love her.
Well, I partly guess, for I have loved her ere now.
No, Corin, being old thou canst not guess, though in thy youth thou wast as true a lover as ever sighed upon a midnight pillow. If thou hast not sat, as I do now, wearing thy hearer in thy mistress' praise, thou hast not loved. Oh, Phoebe, Phoebe, Phoebe.
Silvius exits.
Alas, poor shepherd! Searching of thy wound, I have by hard adventure found mine own.
I pray you, one of you question yon man if he for gold will give us any food. I faint almost to death.
Hola, you clown!
Peace, fool! He's not thy kinsman.
Who calls?
Your betters, sir.
Else they are very wretched.
Peace, I say. Good even to you, friend.
And to you, gentle sir, and to you all.
I prithee, shepherd, if that love or gold can in this desert place buy us entertainment, bring us where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here's a young maid with travel much oppressed and faints for succor.
Oh, fair sir, I pity her, and wish for her sake more than my own, my fortunes were more able to relieve her. But I am shepherd to another man, and do not shear the fleeces that I graze. Besides, his coat, his flocks, and bounds of feed are now on sale, and at our sheepcote now, by reason of his absence, there is nothing that you will feed on. But what it is, come see.
I pray thee, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the cottage, pasture, and the flock, and thou shalt have to pay for it of us.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place, and willingly could waste my time in it.
Go with me, if you like, upon report, the soil, the profit, and this kind of life I will your very faithful feeder be, and buy with it your gold right suddenly.
Exeunt. Scene 5, the Duke's encampment in the forest. A table is set out. Enter Duke Signor and Amiens.
I think he be transformed into a beast, for I can nowhere find him like a man. Go seek him. Tell him I would speak with him.
Enter Jacques.
He saves my labor by his own approach.
Why, how now, monsieur? What a life is this, that your poor friends must woo your company? What, you look merrily.
I met a fool in the forest, a motley fool. As I do live by food, I met a fool, who laid him down and basked him in the sun, says very wisely, it is 10 o'clock. Thus we may see, quoth he, how the world wags. 'Tis but an hour ago since it was 9, and after 1 hour more 'twill be 11. And so from hour to hour we ripe and ripe, and then from hour to hour we rot and rot, and thereby hangs a tale. Oh, when I did hear the motley fool thus moral on time, my lungs began to crow with chanticleer. The fools should be so deep contemplative, and I did laugh sans intermission.
What fool is this?
A worthy fool, one that hath been a courtier, and his brain he hath strange places crammed with observations, with the which he vents in mangled forms. Oh, that I were a fool. I am ambitious for a motley coat.
Then thou shalt have one.
Invest me with a motley, give me leave to speak my mind, and I will through and through cleanse the foul body of the infected world, if they will patiently listen to my medicine.
Jacques prepares to eat, but Orlando enters with his sword drawn.
Forbear, and eat no more,
Why, I have eaten none yet.
nor shall not, till necessity be served.
Art thou thus boldened, man, by thy distress? or else a rude despiser of good manners, that in civility thou seemst so empty?
Thou touched my vein at first. The thorny point of bare distress hath ta'en for me the show of smooth civility. But forbear, I say, he dies that touches any of this fruit, till I and my affairs be answered.
And you will not be answered with reason. I must die.
What would you have? Your gentleness shall force more than your force move us to gentleness.
I almost die for food, and let me have it.
Oh, sit down and feed, and welcome to our table.
Speak you so gently? Pardon me, I pray you, I thought all things had been savage here, and therefore I put on the countenance of stern commandment. Let gentleness my strong enforcement be, in which the hope I blush and hide my sword.
Therefore sit you down in gentleness, and take upon command what help we have, that to your wanting may be ministered.
Then but forbear for your food a little while. There is an old gentleman who after me hath many a weary step limped in pure love, till he be first sufficed, oppressed with 2 weeks' evil, age and hunger, I will not touch a bit.
Go find him out, and we will nothing waste till you return.
I thank ye, and be blessed for your good comfort.
Orlando exits.
Thou seest we are not all alone unhappy. This wide and universal theater presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
Well, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his act being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in his nurse's arms, then the whiny schoolboy, with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like a snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like a furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded with like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in a cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sounds. And at last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Re-enter Orlando with Adam.
Welcome. Set down your venerable burden, and let him feed.
Thank you most for him.
So, had you need, I scarce can speak to thank you, my lord.
Welcome. Fall to. Good gentleman, thou art right welcome as thy master is. Give me your hand, and let me all your fortunes understand.
Exeunt. Act 3, Scene 1, The Palace. Enter Duke Frederick and Oliver.
Not see him since? Sir, that cannot be. Find out thy brother wheresoe'er he is. Seek him with candle. Bring him, dead or living. Thy lands and all things that thou dost call thine, worth seizure do we seize into our hands, till thou canst quit thee by thy brother's mouth of what we think against thee.
Oh, that your highness knew my heart in this. I never loved my brother in my life.
More villain thou. Get thee gone.
Exeunt. Scene 2, The Forest. Enter Orlando with a paper.
Oh, hang there, my verse, in witness of my love. Oh, Rosalind, these trees shall be my books, and in their barks my thoughts I'll character, that every eye which this forest looks shall see thy virtue witnessed everywhere. Run, run, Orlando, carve on every tree the fair, the chaste and unexpressive she.
Orlando exits. Enter Corin and Touchstone.
And how like you this shepherd's life, Master Touchstone?
Truly, shepherd, in respect of itself, it is a good life. But in respect that it is a shepherd's life, it is not. In respect that it is solitary, I like it very well. But in respect that it is private, it is a very vile life. Now, in respect it is in the fields, it pleaseth me well. But in respect it is not in the court, it is tedious. Hast any philosophy in thee, shepherd?
No more, but that I know the more one sickens, the worse at ease he is, and that he wants money, means, and content is without 3 good friends. And the property of rain is to wet, and fire to burn, that good pasture make fat sheep, and that a great cause of the night is the lack of the sun.
Such a one is a natural philosopher.
Enter Rosalind reading a paper.
From east to west Indy, no jewel is like Rosalindy? Her worth being mounted on the wind, through all the world bears Rosalind. All the pictures fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Let no face be kept in mind but the fair of Rosalind.
Sweetest nut hath sourest rind, such a nut is Rosalind. This is the very false gallop of verses. Why do you infect yourself with them?
Peace, you dull fool. I found them on a tree.
Truly, the tree yields bad fruit.
Enter Celia with a writing.
Why should this a desert be? For it is unpeopled, no? No tongues I'll hang on every tree that shall civil sayings show. Will I, Rosalind, write? Teaching all that read to know the quintessence of every sprite, heaven would in little show, therefore heaven, nature charged. The one body should be filled with all graces wide enlarged, nature presently distilled. Heaven would that she these gifts should have, and I to live and die her slave.
Come, shepherd, let us make an honorable retreat, though not with bag and baggage, yet with scrip and scrippage.
Corin and Touchstone exit.
Didst thou hear these verses? True, you had done this.
Is it a man?
Oh.
And a chain that you once wore about his neck. Oh, change you color.
Oh, I prithee who?
Oh, is it possible?
Say I prithee now, with most penitentiary vehemence, tell me who it is.
It is young Orlando that tripped up the wrestler's heels in your heart, both in an instant.
Orlando?
Orlando.
What did he when thou sawest him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes he here? Did he ask for me? Where remains he? Parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again?
I found him under a tree like a dropped acorn.
Oh, it may be well called Jove's tree that when it drops forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There he lay, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Oh, though it be pity to see such a sight, it would well becomes the ground.
Cry hollow to thy tongue, I prithee. It curvets unseasonably. He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous. He comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know that I am a woman? When I think I must speak. Sweet, say on.
Oh, you bring me out. Oh, soft. Comes he not here?
Enter Orlando and Jacques.
Slink by and note him.
Rosalind and Celia hide.
I thank you for your company, but good faith, I had as lief have been myself alone.
And so had I, but yet, for fashion's sake, I thank you too for your society.
God buy you. Let's meet as little as we can.
I do desire we may be better strangers.
I pray you mar no more trees with writing love songs in their barks.
I pray you mar no more of my verses with reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
There was no thought in pleasing you when she was christened.
What stature is she of?
Just as high as my heart.
You are full of pretty answers. You have a nimble wit. Will you sit down with me, and we two will rail against our mistress the world in all our misery?
I will chide no breather of the world but myself, against whom I know most faults.
The worst fault you have is to be in love.
It's a fault I will not change for your best virtue. I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
He is drowned in the book. Look but in, and you shall see him.
There I shall see mine own figure. Oh wait, I'll tarry no longer with you. Farewell, good Signor Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
Jacques exits.
Celia, I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under that habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Very well. What would you?
I pray you, what it's o'clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There is no clock in the forest.
Oh, there's no true lover in the forest, else sighing every minute and groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as clock.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like fringe upon a petticoat.
Are you native of this place? Your accent is something finer than you could purchase in so remote a dwelling.
I have been told so of many, but indeed, an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man, one that knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I am not a woman to be touched with so many giddy offenses, and he had generally taxed their whole sex withal.
Can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal. They were all like one another, as halfpence are. Every one fault seeming monstrous till his fellow fault came to match it.
I prithee, recount some of them.
No, I will not cast away my physic but on those that are sick. There's a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind on their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all forsooth deifying the name Rosalind. If I could but meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
I am he that is so love-shaked.
Oh, well, there is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me how to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not a prisoner.
Fair youth, I would I could make thee believe I love.
Me believe it? You may as soon make her that you love believe it.
I swear to the youth, by the white hand of Rosalind, I am he, that unfortunate he.
But are you so much in love as your rhymes speak?
Neither rhyme nor reason can express how much.
Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house as a whip as madmen do, and the reason they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that the whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I him set him every day to woo me, at which time I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconsistent, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, would now like him, now loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him. That I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, and thus I cured him, and in this way I will take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, and there shall be not one spot of love it.
I would not be cured, youth.
I would cure you, if you would but call me Rosalind, and come every day to my cot, and woo me.
Now, by the faith of my love, I will.
Will you?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay, you must call me Rosalind. Come, sister, shall we go?
Zeunt. Scene 3, the forest, the next day. Enter Rosalind and Celia.
Oh, never talk to me, I will weep.
Do, I prithee, but yet have the grace to consider that tears do not become a man.
Have I not cause to weep?
As good a cause as one would desire, therefore weep.
But why? Why did he swear he would come this morning and he comes not?
Well, nay, certainly, there is no truth in him.
You think so? Not true in love?
Yes, where he is in, but I think he is not in.
You have heard him swear downright he was.
Was, is not, is. He attends here in the forest on the Duke, your father.
I met the Duke yesterday and had much question with him. He asked me of what parentage I was. I told him of as good as he, and he laughed and let me go. But what talk we of fathers when there's such a man as Orlando?
Enter Corin.
Mistress and master, you have oft inquired after the shepherd that complained of love, who you saw sitting by me on the turf, praising the proud, disdainful shepherdess. That was his mistress.
Well, and what of him?
If you will see a pageant truly played between the pale complexion of true love and the red glow of scorn and proud disdain, go hence a little.
Oh, come, let us remove. The sight of lovers feedeth those in love. Bring us to this sight, and you shall say I'll prove a busy actor in their play.
Exeunt. Scene 4, another part of the forest. Enter Silvius and Phoebe.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me, do not, Phoebe. Say that you love me not, but say not so in bitterness.
Enter Rosalind, Celia, and Corin at a distance.
I would not be thy executioner. I would not injure thee. Thou tellest me there is murder in mine eye. Now do I frown on thee with all my heart, and if mine eyes can wound, now let me kill thee.
Oh, dear Phoebe, if ever, as that ever may be near, you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then you shall know the wounds invisible that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come thou not near me, and when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks. Pity me not, and as till that time, I shall not pity thee.
Oh, and why, I pray you? Who might be your mother, that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched? What, though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you without a candle may go dark to bed, must you therefore be proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than the ordinary of nature's sail work. Odds my life, sister, I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, or your cheek of cream that can entame my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her? You are 1,000 times a properer man than she a woman. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her. But mistress, know yourself, down on your knees and thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer.
Sweet youth, I pray you, chide me a year together. I had rather hear you chide than that man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. I pray you do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not. Come, sister, to our flock.
Rosalind, Celia, and Corin exit.
Dead shepherd, now I find thy saw of might. Whoever loved that loved not at first sight?
Sweet Phoebe.
Ha! What say thou, Phyllis, Sylvis?
Sweet Phoebe, pity me.
Why, I am sorry for thee, gentle Sylvis.
Wherever sorrow is, relief would be. If you do sorrow at my grief in love, by giving love, your sorrow and my grief were both extermined.
Thou hast my love, is that not neighborly?
I would have you.
Why, that were covetousness. Know thou that the youth that spoke to me erstwhile?
Well, not very well, but I have met him oft.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, yet he talks well. It is a pretty youth, not very pretty. There was a pretty redness in his lip, and a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference betwixt the constant red and the mingled damask. I have more cause to hate him than to love him, for what had he to do with me? He said mine eyes were black, and my hair black, and now I am remembered, scorned at me. I marvel why I am answered not again. I'll write to him in a very daunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Sylvis?
Oh, Phoebe, with all my heart.
I'll write it straight. The matter's in my head and in my heart. I will be bitter with him and passing short. Go with me, Sylvis.
Exeunt. Scene 4, Act 4, Scene 1, The Forest. Enter Rosalind, Celia, and Jacques.
I prithee, pretty youth, let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say that you are a melancholy fellow.
I am so. I do love it better than laughing.
Those that are in extremity are either abominable fellows and betray themselves to every modern censure worse than drunkards.
Why, 'tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why then 'tis good to be a post.
I have neither the scholar's melancholy, which is emulation, nor the musician's, which is fantastical, nor the courtier's, which is proud, nor the soldier's, which is ambitious, nor the lawyer's, which is politic, nor the lady's, which is nice, nor the lover's, which is all of these. But it is a melancholy of mine own, compounded of many simples extracted from many objects, and indeed the sundry contemplation of my travels, in which my often rumination wraps me in a most humorous sadness.
A traveler? By my faith, you have great reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your own land to see other men's, and then to have seen much and to have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
I had rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad, and to travel for it too.
Enter Orlando.
Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
Nay, then, God buy you, and you talk in blank verse.
Farewell, Monsieur Traveler.
Exit Jacques.
Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this time? You, a lover, and you serve me such another trick. Never come in my sight more.
My fair Rosalind, I came within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love.
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I'd as lief be wooed of a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. Come, woo me, for now I am in a holiday humor, and like enough to consent. What would you say to me now, an I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Nay, you were better speak first. Am I not your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well, in her person, I say I will not have you.
Then, in mine own person, I die.
Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them too, but not for love.
I would not have my right Rosalind for this mine, for I protest, her frown might kill me.
By this hand I would not kill a fly. But come now I will be your Rosalind in a more coming on disposition, and ask me what you will, I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith will I, Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
What sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then, can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister, you shall be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando. What say you, sister?
Pray thee, marry us.
Oh, I cannot say the words.
Oh. You must begin, will you, Orlando?
Go to. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
Aye, but when?
Why, now as fast as she can marry us.
Then you must say, I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I take thee, Rosalind, for wife.
I do take thee, Orlando, for my husband. Now, tell me how long you would have her after you have possessed her.
Forever and a day.
Say a day without the ever. No, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when they are maids, but the sky changes when they are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, and more clamorous than a parrot against the rain, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing, and I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena when thou art inclined to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise. I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock, I will be with thee again.
I go your ways. I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. That flattering tongue of yours won me. 'Tis but one cast away, and so come death. 2 o'clock is your hour?
Aye, sweet Rosalind.
If you break one jot of your promise or come 1 minute behind your hour, I will think you the most pathetical break promise, the most hollow lover, and the most unworthy of her you call Rosalind. Therefore beware my censure and keep your promise.
With no less religion than if thou were indeed my Rosalind. So, adieu.
Adieu.
Orlando exits.
You have simply misused our sex in your love prate.
Oh, cuz, oh, my pretty little cousin, that thou dost not know how many fathom deep I am in love. But it cannot be sounded, my affection hath an unknown bottom. I'll tell thee, Aliena, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. I'll go find a shadow and sigh till he come.
And I'm going to sleep.
Exeunt. Scene 2, another part of the forest. Enter Rosalind, Celia, and Silvius following.
My errand is to you, fair youth. My gentle Phoebe did bid me give you this. I know not the contents, but as I guess by the stern brow and waspish action which she did use as she was writing of it, it bears an angry tenor. Pardon me, I am but as a guiltless messenger.
She says I'm not fair, that I like manners. She calls me proud, and that she could not love me, were man as rare as phoenix. Odds my will. Her love is not the hare that I do hunt. Why writes she so to me? Well, shepherd, well, this is a letter of your own device.
No, I protest, I know not the contents. Phoebe did write it.
I say she never did invent this letter. This is a man's invention.
Oh, sure, it is hers.
Woman's gentle brain could not drop forth such giant, rude invention. Will you hear the letter?
So please you, for I never heard it yet heard too much of Phoebe's cruelty.
Mark how the tyrant writes. Art thou God to shepherd turned, that a maiden heart hath burned? If the scorn of your bright eyne have power to raise such love in mine, alack in me, what strange effect would they work in mild aspect? Whilst you chide me, I did love, how then might your prayers move? He that brings this love to thee, little knows this love in me, and by him seal up thy mind, whether thy youth and kind will the faithful offer take of me and all that I can make, or else by him my love deny, and then I'll study how to die.
Oh, call you this chiding?
Oh, alas, poor shepherd.
You pity him? No, he deserves no pity. Wilt thou love such a woman? What, to make thee an instrument and play false strains upon thee? Well, go your way to her, for I see love hath made thee tame snake. And say this to her, that if she love me, I charge her love to thee. And if she will not, I will never have her unless thou entreat for her.
Silvius exits. Enter Oliver.
Good morrow, fair ones, pray you. If you know, where in the purlieus of this forest stands a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees?
Oh, well, west of this place, down in the neighbor bottom. The rank of osiers by the murmuring stream, left on your right hand, brings you to the place. But at this hour the house doth keep itself. There's none within.
If that an eye may profit by a tongue, then I should know you. Are you not the owner of this house I did inquire for?
It is no boast being asked to say we are.
Orlando doth commend him to you both, and that youth he calls his Rosalind, he sends his bloody napkin. Are you he?
I am. What must we understand by this?
Some of my shame, if you will know of me what man I am, and how and why and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you, tell it.
When last the young Orlando parted from you, he left a promise to return again within an hour, and, pacing through the forest, lo, what befell? He threw his eye aside, and marked what object he present itself. A wretched, ragged man lay sleeping on his back. About his neck a green and gilded snake had wreathed itself. Seeing Orlando, it unlinked itself, and with indented glides did slip away into a bush, under which bushes shade a lioness lay couching, head on the ground, with cat-like watch. Then that the sleeping man did stir, for 'tis the royal disposition of that beast to prey on nothing that doth seem as dead. This seen, Orlando did approach the man, and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
Oh, I have heard him speak of that same brother, and he did render him the most unnatural that lived amongst men.
And right well he might do so, for I well know he was unnatural.
But to Orlando, did he leave him there food for the hungry lioness?
Twice did he turn his back and purpose so, but kindness, nobler ever than revenge, and nature, stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who fell quickly before him, in which hurtling from a miserable slumber I waked.
Are you his brother?
What's you he rescued?
Wast you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
'Twas I, but 'tis not I. I do not shame to tell you what I was, since my conversation so sweetly tastes, being the thing I am.
But for the bloody napkin.
Here upon his arm, the lioness had torn some flesh away, and he fainted, and cried in fainting upon Rosalind. In brief, I recovered him, bound up his wound, and after some small space, being strong at heart, he sent me hither, stranger as I am, to tell this story, that you might excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin, dyed in his blood, unto the shepherd youth that he in sport doth call his Rosalind.
Rosalind swoons.
Oh, how now, Ganymede! Oh, sweet Ganymede!
Many will swoon when they do look upon blood.
Oh, there is more in it. Cousin Ganymede.
Look, he recovers.
I pray you, tell your brother how well I counterfeited. Hey ho!
This was not counterfeit. There is too great testimony in your complexion that it was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well then, take a good heart and counterfeit to be a man.
So I do. But if faith, I should have been a woman by right.
Oh, come, you look paler and paler. Pray you draw homewards. Good sir, will you go with us?
That will I, for I must bear an answer back. How do you excuse my brother, Rosalind?
I shall devise something, but I pray you commend my counterfeiting to him. Will you go?
Seunt. Act 5, Scene 1, The Forest. Enter Orlando and Oliver.
It's possible that on so little acquaintance you should like her, but seeing you should love her, and loving woo, and wooing she should grant? And will you persevere to enjoy her?
Neither call the giddiness of it in question, the poverty of her, the small acquaintance, my sudden wooing, nor her sudden consenting, but say with me, I love Eliana. Say with her that she loves me, consent with both that we may enjoy each other. I shall be to your good, for our father's house and all revenue that was through old Sir Roland's will I estate upon you, and live here and die a shepherd.
You have my consent. Your wedding be tomorrow. Thither will I invent the Duke and all contented followers. Go you and prepare Eliana, for look you, here comes my Rosalind.
Enter Rosalind.
God save you, brother.
And you, fair sister.
Oliver exits.
Oh, my dear Orlando, how it grieves me to see wear thy heart in a scarf.
It is my arm.
I thought thy heart had been wounded with the claws of a lion.
Wounded it is, but the eyes of a lady.
Did your brother tell you how I counterfeited to swoon when he showed me your handkerchief?
Aye, and greater wonders than that.
Oh, I know where you are. Your brother and my sister no sooner met, but they looked, no sooner looked, but they loved, no sooner loved, but they sighed, no sooner sighed, and they asked one another the reason, no sooner they knew the reason, but they sought the remedy, and in these degrees they have made pair of stairs to marriage.
They shall be married tomorrow, and I will bid the Duke to the nuptial. Oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes. By so much the more shall I tomorrow be at the height of heart heaviness. By how much shall I think my brother happy in having what he wishes for?
Why then tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind.
I can live no longer by thinking.
I will weary you then no longer with idle talking. Know of me then, for now I speak to some purpose, that I know you are a gentleman of good conceit. Be then, if it please, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3 years old, conversed with a magician, most profound in his art, and yet not damnable. If you do love Rosalind so near the heart as your gesture cries out, well, when your brother marries Aliena, you shall marry her. I know what straits of fortune she is driven, and it is not impossible to me, if I appear not inconvenient to you, to set her before you tomorrow, your eyes tomorrow, human as she is, and without any danger.
Speakest thou in sober meanings?
By my life, I do. If you will be married tomorrow, you shall, and to Rosalind, if you will.
Enter Silvius and Phoebe.
Youth, you have done me much ungentleness to show the letter that I writ to you.
I care not if I have. It is my study to seem despiteful and ungentle to you. There are followed by a faithful shepherd. Look upon him, love him, he worships you.
Good shepherd, tell this youth what it is to love.
Oh, it is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, all humbleness, all patience and impatience, all purity, all trial, all obedience. And so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
So am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you for me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame me to love you?
Orlando, why do you speak to why blame me to love you?
To her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Oh, pray you, no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. Silvius, I will help you if I can. Phoebe, I would love you if I could. For you all tomorrow meet me together. Phoebe, I will marry you if ever I marry woman, and I'll be married tomorrow. Orlando, if I will satisfy you if ever I satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. Silvius, I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. Orlando, as you love Rosalind, meet. Silvanus, as you love Phoebe, meet. And Phoebe, as I love no woman, I'll meet. So fare you well. I have left you commands.
I'll not fail if I live.
Nor I.
Nor I.
Exeunt. Scene 2, the forest, the next morning. Enter Duke Signor, Jacques, Orlando, Oliver, and Adam.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all that he hath promised?
I sometimes do believe and sometimes do not. All those that fear, they hope and know they fear.
Enter Rosalind, Celia, Corin, Silvius, Phoebe, and Martext, sir not appearing in this play.
Patience once more whilst our compact is urged. My Lord Duke, you say if I bring your Rosalind, you will bestow her on Orlando here?
That would I, had I kingdoms to give with her.
And you, Orlando, say you will have her when I bring her?
That would I, were I of all kingdoms king.
You, Phoebe, say you'll marry me if I be willing?
That will I, should the hour after.
But if you do refuse to marry me, you'll give yourself to this most faithful shepherd?
So is the bargain.
You, Silvius, say that you'll have Phoebe if she will.
Though to have her and death were both one thing.
I have promised to make all this matter even. Keep your word, O Duke, to give your daughter, and yours, Orlando, to receive his daughter. Keep your word, Phoebe, that you'll marry me, or else refusing to wed this shepherd. Keep your word, Silvanus, that you'll marry her if she refuse me. And from hence I go to make all these doubts even.
Rosalind and Celia exit.
I do remember in this shepherd boy some lively touches of my daughter's favor.
My lord, the first time that ever I saw him, methought he was a brother to your daughter.
Enter Touchstone.
Salutation and greeting to you all.
Oh, good my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded gentleman that I have so oft met in the forest. He hath been a courtier, he swears. Good my lord, like this fellow.
I like him very well.
Enter Rosalind and Celia in their court clothing.
Good Duke, receive thy daughter.
To you, my dear Duke, I give myself, for I'm yours. To you, my dear Orlando, I give myself, for I'm yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my daughter.
If there be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
I'll have no father if you not be he. I'll have no husband if you not be he. Nor ne'er wed woman if you be not she, Phoebe.
Orlando and Rosalind, you and you no cross shall part. Oliver and Celia, you and you are heart and heart. Phoebe, you to his love must accord, or have a woman to your lord.
Enter Lord.
Let me have an audience for a word or two. I bring tidings to this fair assembly. Duke Frederick, hearing how that every day men of great worth resorted to this forest, addressed a mighty power which were on foot in his own conduct purposely to take his brother here and put him to the sword. And to the skirt of this wild wood he came, where, meeting with an old religious man, after some question with him, was converted both from his enterprise and from the world, his crown bequeathing to his banished brother, and all their lands restored to them again, that were with him exiled. This to be true, I do engage my life.
Welcome art thou. Thy tidings lay more joy upon this day of wedding. First in this forest let us do those ends that here were well begun and well begot. And after every of this happy number that have endured shrewd days and nights with us, shall share the good of our returned fortune, according to the measure of their states.
Oh, sir, by your patience, if I heard you rightly, the Duke hath put on a religious life and thrown into neglect the pompous court.
He hath.
To him will I. Out of these conversions there is much matter to be heard and learned. Your Grace, You to your former honor I bequeath, your patience and your virtue well deserve it. Orlando, you to your love that your true faith doth merit. Oliver, you to your land and love and great allies. Silvius, you to a long and well-deserved bed. And Touchstone, you to your wrangling.
Stay, Jacques, stay.
Oh, to see no pastime I. What would you have I'll stay to know at your abandoned camp?
Proceed, proceed. We will begin with these rites, as we do trust they'll end in true delights.
Exeunt. Epilogue.
It is not the fashion to see the lady, the epilogue, but is no more unhandsome to see the lord, the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, 'tis true that a good play needs no epilogue. Yet to good wine they use good bushes. Good plays prove the better by the help of good epilogues. What a case am I in then, that I'm neither a good epilogue nor can insinuate with you the behalf of a good play? I am not furnished like a beggar, therefore to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you, and I'll begin with the women. I charge you, O women, for the love that you bear your men, to like as of this play as please you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women, as I perceive by your simpering none of you hates them, that between you and the women the play may please. If I were a woman, I would kiss as many of you as had beards that pleased me, complexions that liked me, and breasts that I defied not. And I am sure as many as have good beards or good faces or sweet breaths will, for my kind offer, when I make curtsy, bid me farewell.
The end.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this production. If you will give me just a moment, I will go ahead and bring everyone into the room so that you can talk with the actors. Thank you for joining us. One moment.